Scriven, how are we?
My man, all good. All good in the hood with my new mood lighting. And the scaffolding as well. You have to have the scaffolding with the mood lighting.
John stole my backlighting idea, but he's gone a little bit sexier than me.
Yeah, well, I've got this little control. Did you get that? Did you get one of these as well with yours?
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So cheap as well. Just add a little bit of lighting to your kind of background. So yeah, really, really good.
Taste out. You gave it to me. I was like, mate, how do you do your lighting? And then you sent me the links. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go for it.
The only problem with my office though, it just shows off how bad the plastering job actually was.
It does a little bit. Your last setup though, like I know it's not ideal in the kitchen, but because of that backdrop and you had the different color, like that face on the wall, that was really good.
Yeah, it's a little bit more depth to the background. That's what it's like yours at the moment because you've got depth behind you. It just makes you pop a little bit more. So I need to sort out some sort of background here, really, if I kind of can. But I'll say to John just before we hit record and came on here. So the whole idea of the whole concept behind the ground up is because obviously me and John both are part of Limitless Mentoring, where we work obviously one-to-one with online business owners, particularly fitness, where we help them obviously grow from the ground up and achieve the goals that they want to achieve. Now, me and John both post results relentlessly every single day. So there's just result, and wins and testimonials, which is fantastic. But a lot of people are still very skeptical when they see the results that, not necessarily that we post, but when people actually start to achieve good things in life. People always say kind of narrow it down to luck, or it could be down to like perfect timing, or it could be down to a million excuses. A lot of people like to put the excuse in front of them. So I want to really share different people's journeys on how they actually got from point A to point B and started to see that success. So we can really kind of paint the picture to show that it's not it's not anything that's fake. It's not anything that's unrealistic. It is attainable. It is achievable for anyone on this planet to achieve the goals that you are actually seeing online. It says you shouldn't necessarily be skeptical until you know the full story, which is obviously what we're going to go through. So what we're going to do before we kind of get into things, something because I actually hopped on with Shan just before you, John. What I actually want to do in spirit of this as well, every single time that we get a view, I'm going to give away to one lucky person who's actually viewed and commented on this video the opportunity to have a little bit of money to help them grow their business from the ground up. So I'm going to tie it in with the amount of views that this video actually gets. So however many views it gets by the end of January 2023, so the second week in January now, however many views that is, timed by £1, I'm going to give that away. Okay, so all you've actually got to do is comment below. We're going to use John's last name. We're going to use Scriven. So comment below Scriven.
What a beautiful way to comment.
And then what I'm going to get you to do, John, is I want you to write down a number that I don't want you to reveal until the end of this chat. And if the amount of views by the end of January is that number that you've actually guessed correctly, I'm going to double that price.
Okay.
So just a little bit of fun.
Random ass number for you there. Yeah.
This is completely new. So I mean, Shannon put 20 views. Like that is literally what I'm expecting because this is very, very brand new. I'm not expecting it to absolutely blow up. You've put thousands, haven't you?
No, not quite. Not quite. No.
But I'm not expecting it to blow up. But it's just a little bit of fun for the time being. And the more that people are viewing these, the bigger it will get, the bigger the price fund will actually get each and every time. So just a little bit of fun. So what we'll do is we'll kind of paint the picture, but I want to start off with where you are in your life at the moment. Obviously I know, but if you could talk about obviously your current position, what you're currently doing at the moment, and what's life look like for John?
Mobile right now, mate. So obviously working with Limitless, one of the mentors. So that takes up a large portion of my life where I'm kind of helping other people grow and scale online, and mainly as fitness coaches, but we've got so many other niches actually kind of helping develop now. And there's a lot of background work into Limitless now, which we're expanding this year, which is exciting. So I kind of joined last year because I've known Elliot for like 15 years with these, I met him at uni. I used to be bigger. And I'm the one who's like, yeah, look, watching me like sort of growing mass and scale. But no, we met like ages ago, and then I studied, like, not to go tangentially, but yeah, I kind of studied marine biology. I went into biotech. He was always into business. He was always into economics, and so it kind of went their way. And I kept in contact with him throughout. I've worked with him in the agency, and kind of I was working on mainly PPC, mainly helping other people, other businesses, like on an agency basis.
Yeah.
And then I think it was last year, wasn't it? I think it was about November last year. He just
Yeah.
he phoned me up and was like, can you come down and have a look at, we had the Limitless Live event, that first one.
Yeah.
So can you come down and have a look? Because at the time I didn't know, but he was just like, I need you to step up and like join as a mentor, because we've reached a number now which we need to increase capacity. So yeah, right now I'm at a point where I'm doing that. I've still got other businesses. Because I've worked in biotech, I've got like legacy companies I've had throughout. One was oddly paint manufacturing. One is e-liquids as well, kind of run an e-liquid manufacturing company and work with a couple of wholesale partners. So I tried to make that as efficient as possible now, because a lot of my attention is moving towards Limitless. So yeah, that's mainly like supplies and actually producing formula work, creating flavors. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of work to be done there. Paint company as well, try to outsource some of that, trying to wrap that up as well, because I think I'm learning, like, you can either be good at two things, amazing at one, or shite at three. So just starting to kind of prioritize certain things which are kind of working and exploding. So yeah, right now in terms of like living as well, because again, I didn't appreciate it. So I was working near Cardiff like for a good part of 8 years when I moved up. When I graduated, I did a master's in marine biology and oceanography, and then I kind of did internships in like Florida and Sarasota. Came back and got a job in research and development. I moved for that, and I spent 8 years there. And then I was just like locked away for a bit in that part of the country. It's a nice part of the world, Forest of Dean Way, and the kind of southeast Wales. But I've been exploiting the flexibility of online coaching, so to speak. And right now I'm renting. I'm currently living in kind of Eastbourne, but been to New York several times this year, and I'm thinking, to be fair, this coming year next, I'm probably going to be moving about a bit as well, to kind of be literally answering your question of where I am. But I think that brings us up to speed a little bit in terms of like what my time's being spent on and where I am in the world.
Yeah, we're exactly the same, to be honest. I mean, like, we've gone through that same realization at probably the same time, where we've had like our fingers in like a few different pies, and then me and John have both kind of come to that decision, I would say, that Limitless is just going to be on number one. We're going to go fucking all in, because the vision and the future for the company and the impact that we're having on every single person that we're working with. I mean, mate, we're changing lives every single day, and it's such a fulfilling role. From like with what we're actually doing, we're literally like changing people's lives. I mean, we've had people go from like a plasterer where they fucking hate what they're doing for a living to now moving to Australia, like working from their laptop. So we are making these like dreams become a reality. So it's something that we obviously both want to go completely all in on. So very, very exciting future. But let's go all the way back. So obviously we want to get like the step by step on how we actually got to this point. So what was childhood like for John? Even like a couple of these things that I'm going to ask you are things that I don't personally know as well, which would be quite interesting. But what was childhood John like?
Well, to be fair, I've had a silver spoon jammed so far up my ass for so long. I'm probably one of the luckiest kids. I was so fortunate. You know, I can't love my parents more. Like, I look up to them so much. My dad is my hero, and like, yeah, I was obviously, but I grew up. Parents originally from Jersey, and then they're both from Jersey, but they oddly met. I think they met at Bristol Uni, and then I grew up in sort of the southwest, kind of near Somerset for a while. And I don't know where I got my accent. I sound like posh as fuck. I know to some, like you say, Somerset, you think, all right, where you from then, Grumpy Lad? But yeah, childhood was great, mate. I was very, very lucky. Parents spoiled the living shit out of me. But I'm like, to give my son some modicum of credit, like I've never with that, they've spoiled me in attitude and they've instilled me like work ethic.
Yeah.
And I've just like, I couldn't be thankful enough for the values they've preached and taught onto me. And my dad and my mum, they were involved in network marketing company. And, you know, in the 80s and 90s, it kind of started in America. And then they were responsible for the UK distribution arm. And it was the concept was like you got, before the advent of the internet, you had products, you had household products, car cleaning products, nutraceuticals, food products to some extent. And instead of people going to online to get it or going to shops, you would have distributors selling unique different products. And to be fair, the products were shit hot. They were really good. And then, you'd sell this many products, you'd help a team build this many and sell this many. He just took it from America to the UK.
What products were they?
Well, anything, mate, like Tupperware, cooking products, cleaning products, car care products, vitamins, minerals, energy drinks, office supplies.
Huge range.
It's huge range. It was like, if you can imagine, like, I guess at the time, what was it, Woolworths?
Yeah.
What you could get at Woolworths, you couldn't get everything through this company, but you'd get a fair amount you get from in the distribution arm. So I guess back then, Woolworths bankrupt now. Went bankrupt ages ago, but they were like the main competitors or the main alternative. Sure. And that was turning up to a shop and getting it rather than someone providing you products and selling directly. So it was sales and marketing, and it was group building. So they worked. My dad, I look up to him because he worked like 10 years in 5. He worked 2 jobs, and then my mum would help work as well. I remember visions of me when I was like 5+, when memory started to happen, was in my dad in office, and my mum was like packing all the materials, and they did tapes and education. And it's kind of, my dad, he looks at me now, and I've kind of come full circle, because what we do with Limitless is it's the mindset. It's a lot of it's skills, psychology, and help training people up and helping them learn the skills and the mindset you need to kind of help other people and grow and thrive. That was like instilled throughout the whole system they did. And memories of mum just like packing all these cassette tapes and all the like paper and the books they'd send out every month. And I used to do it for pocket money. I never got like money pocket money. I had to earn. And again, I was like, I thank that, because if you want to get somewhere in life, you need to work hard for it. So I just remember like, what was it, like 50p for like an hour, just packing shit and sending it out. And then my dad, I didn't see him much for early childhood, because he was, he worked in a recruitment agency in Bristol in the day. At night, he would drive to Manchester, drive to Hull, and he'd drive everywhere in the UK at nights to show. They call it show the plan, show people what's possible, sell the products directly. So yeah, he did that, and I think early, like mid 90s, mid to like 90s, early 2000s, that's when it sort of took off. But there was no return. People were like saying, you're crazy, you're mad, you should quit, get a real job, don't pester people, and all this. Yeah, he had to fight. There's so much negativity, and he had to kind of push through it. But it took off, and then it was an overnight success after a good sort of 5 to 7 years of graft. And that's what I saw. I was spoiled. I kind of went all over their holidays for this stuff. I went on holidays. I was very lucky as a kid. Again, had to work for it, but Christmas was great. So yeah, it was good, mate. It was a very, very good childhood. Like very, very solid foundations. I've been dealt a very good hand.
Yeah. So obviously you were surrounded by that work ethic, and you had the luxuries, but you had the you had the respect of money and what it actually takes to achieve those nicer things, obviously with your dad. Because obviously you've always spoke very, very highly of your dad to me as well. So he's clearly someone that you massively look up to as well, obviously from your childhood and even now as well. You even showed me a photo one time where he was doing like a speaking event of like thousands of people as well. So can only imagine obviously what it took for him to work his way up to those sort of heights, which is obviously a fantastic environment for you to be around.
Yeah,
Is it just your brother that you got, or you got any other siblings as well?
it's just my brother. Yeah, so I got James. He's 3 years older than me, so it's just us two really. But yeah, I mean, my dad. I think it was like that. I didn't really realize the scale of it when I was young, but when I was like teenager, when I got my suit on, I went to one of these. It's like I think it was 45,000 he had in his group, and then they had seminars of like they'd fill out Telford Stadium and certain stadiums once a quarter. And then he'd do speeches, and they'd have guest speakers like Matthew Pinsent, Francois Pienaar, some other like basically sportsmen, mindset coaches and stuff. They'd speak at these events, and yeah, again to kind of buoy people energy up, report how is the quarter gone, how are we doing, what we got planned, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely surrounded by it and absorbing that information as well. It would have been amazing as a kid. What would you like at school as well? Like going into school, like what was school life like?
It was good. Again, I kind of always enjoyed. I think I'm lucky. I'm quite curious. I'm very curious. I have to know why stuff happens. Like, I think sciences. I love the sciences, particularly biology and chemistry. I just found it so fucking fascinating. Like understanding more about the world and why things happen and just the natural structures of things. It was I found it intensely interesting, and because of that interest, I just wanted to know more. And then I was quite. I wouldn't call myself like clever in terms of like I can process stuff quite quickly. I just have I think I'm lucky. I've got a good memory. So I can remember stuff, and then when you match that with the curiosity, I did quite well at school. And obviously you got your friends around you. I kind of enjoyed that, and I just think from an early age, I realized that I just like learning stuff, and like even when I went into the biotech role, again it was learning, and then I've been in other jobs when I was setting up companies outside of that. I've been in other jobs where it's just like retail, which I fucking hated, but just can't it makes you realize how lucky you are to be in an environment in like this country, or even like in a Western country where we take education for granted. And albeit we realize like there's like a polar dichotomy of what education is now, that's a rabbit hole to go down to. But even just learning about the world, we're very lucky. And I loved it. I really found it interesting.
Yeah. Because I think me and you to a certain degree in our sort of school life, with like I was almost like one of those kids at school where I kind of bounced from group to group. So I was never really in a group at school, but I was always naturally in like the top sets of things, but I wouldn't ever class myself as clever, let's say, because I didn't have that natural curiosity like you do, where you're asking questions and you really, really want to learn. Whereas I like to kind of keep myself to myself and figure out things the hard way. I don't know why. I never really asked like teachers for questions or anything like that. I used to just go to school just because I had to be there. And then as soon as I got home, I'd be like, right, okay, I'm interested in this, and I'd like figure out things kind of on my own. Whereas from the sounds of things, it sounds like when you was at school, it was very much question, because you just enjoyed and thrived off like learning absolutely everything. Like, do you think that's played and kind of stemmed from obviously the curiosity with like obviously growing up around your dad as well?
Probably, mate. Yeah, I mean, what was your favorite subject? What did you like?
My favorite subject, I would say, and anyone that went to school with me would probably be like, what? But it was probably maths. But like I said, when I was at school, I wasn't very present, and a lot of people used to think, how is he even in this class? Because I used to I don't know why, I used to naturally play dumb a little bit, and I didn't really pay much attention, but I knew it, if that makes sense. So when it came to exams and things like that, I'd just kind of know it. So I'd be absorbing it without being present, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like completely different.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the other. I think well, that is quite bright, because you require less like direct attention to input it, but you do retain and you input quite quickly. So your processing is like higher, which is that is a sign of intelligence. And okay, even with maths, like I don't know. I think I've always had curiosity. I think my dad's instilled like as a family motto. It sounds naff as fuck, but do it now. Like if you're gonna do it now. And when you do it, don't do the minimum. And I just remember one day, my brother he struggled a little bit because again, he wasn't as academic. And what does that mean? He found it hard to input information into him.
Yeah.
He found it hard to kind of get that first bit of retaining it. So he just struggled. And then the teacher didn't really appreciate it. But he was doing homework one night and dad was just like, it was about fucking volcanoes or something like that. And my dad was sitting down with him. And my boss like, oh, that'll do. And my dad just flipped. And I was just like, well, what? And he said, that it's like that. It's not that will do. We don't do the minimum. Do not do the minimum. You know, it's not you have to push further. You can't get by just doing the bare.
Yeah.
And I think that struck a little bit. So I always wanted to kind of naturally I had the kind of interest there. Again, that's me being lucky. But I kind of got tied that a little bit with like, if you're gonna do it. Don't just scrape by and just, submit anything that's gonna just pass. Just push it.
Yeah, it's a really good lesson to learn. And I mean, even now you are like an encyclopedia.
I've used the shit probably though. You gotta balance it.
No, you are a very smart man. You come out with things sometimes where I'm like, what? Like, what is that? So like clearly a lot of things obviously from your childhood being around your dad has really kind of shaped you as a person, which is fantastic. Obviously leaving school and kind of going into sort of university, obviously growing up a little bit. What was that experience like for you? Obviously becoming your own man, so to speak.
Yeah. To be fair, mate, it's like pretty intimidating because like I was when I was like at school, I kind of naturally like enjoyed the environment and had friend groups, and I kind of had I didn't really move schools too much because we stayed in the same place. So I had like, obviously I went like primary school, then you had like secondary school, and then went to sixth form. So I was quite stable. I had good friend groups, which kind of matured and like developed. And then university, it's like all of a sudden you've got to make some new ones. And I'm naturally very introverted and quite shy. I'm very shy. And when I like went to uni, I made a few connections, but I struggled, to be honest, like making new connections. That's kind of one of the biggest challenges I think I've had, or just that's like the other side of the stick is like, I find it hard to make initial connections. I don't know. Sometimes it's interest. Sometimes it's like confidence. There's like imposter syndrome sometimes, or like, I think, why the fuck would they? I like, why would they want to listen? They don't. No one cares about me. So
yeah,
I find small talk painful as fuck. Like I just like no one cares about it. I know that, and I'm just thinking like, if I say stuff, I know they're thinking this, and I just overthink things. So university was like, I made some good friends, and like I bumped into Elliot, which was like a good connection, good friend. Fostered to this day. I've made other connections which I kind of kept in contact with. So I've made good friends, but I'm not one of these. I remember getting like the leaflet, right, and it's just like reinvent yourself, new universe, new you, and all this shit. And I was looking at it going, I liked me, like okay. And then I went to uni, and I had like I could count how many friends I've got like from uni on like one hand really. So when I make connections, I make connections. But I'm not very like widespread. I'm not life and soul the party. I'm just, I made some good friends. But the course, like in terms of actual university, I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I realized all of a sudden all this time, and it was just like, fuck, I've got all this availability. So that's when I started to learn about time management a little bit and trying to constrain things.
Yeah.
And I learned a bit. But when you're self-employed, it's like it's not the same. You go to uni, it's like minor. When you're self-employed and you have to kind of embed discipline and structure, that's like next level.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're the same in that sort of regards of things, in regards to actually building connections with people, because I think that's why we get on so well, because we're both quite like we're quite similar in that regards. Like I'm very, very laid back, and I'll only kind of build a connection if I have to, if that makes sense. Like I'm very content with like myself and what I'm kind of doing, if that makes sense. But in regards to university, obviously you enjoyed the course. You made a few connections there. Would you say that time at university was well spent for you?
Yeah, I'd say so, mate. Like it was back then. I was just thinking about that, actually. It was 2000, like 2009. I kind of went to university, and I think that was the coalition government with David Cameron and Nick Clegg, and then it was like everyone's got to go to university, everyone's got to go. And my parents went, but they went to like a polytechnic, so I was like probably one of the first to kind of go into like uni. I went to Southampton, so my parents were quite proud of that, and they pushed it. And naturally, I was interested in science and the idea of learning like deeper leave. And that was a cluster. It was a mind fuck, mate. I got to university and I realized everything I learned at school wasn't true.
Yeah,
Like it was like proxies. And then even when you get to university, you realize nothing's actually known. And it's this there's like theory of knowledge. If you look at like understanding as a sphere, the larger the sphere grows, the greater the contact area with the unknown. And the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. And the thing that kind of just blew my mind is like we know more about. I love that. I've always loved the sea. I think because of going in Jersey, I used to go there every now and then, seeing where my parents grew up, and grew up. And summers we have to had some holidays there, and just being in the sea every day, it was just like it embedded some interest. We know less about the bottom of the sea than we do about Mars, the surface of Mars, and I've always had this. I've always wanted to help people. And I've got this theory that every single disease in the world can be cured by an element of like from like a marine protein, like a microbe, anything. There's so much. We know like less than 5% of the species in the oceans. So there's so much unknown. It's that mystery. And that's that curiosity itch, which I just got to scratch. And I remember learning about the deep sea. So, the deep sea, particularly because it's like megafauna, but only there should be another like 10, 20 giant, like big species of animals that should live there. Because if you look at the biomass there, it can support that much life.
Yeah.
And we can't see it because it's fucking pitch black. So there's stuff down there which we have no clue about, which is like, whoa.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I had to know more. And I've never been like, I didn't have the outset of like career was never nailed. And that provided a bit of anxiety because I was like, I've got to sort that out, got to sort this out. But I wanted to learn more and more and more and more.
Yeah. It was the curiosity that drove you then, not the career.
100%. Yeah, mate. So if I wanted a career, I probably wouldn't go to uni. Like, only because I got the interest there. But like looking, if you don't have the need and you don't have any kind of clear subjects that interest you, I'd probably, looking back at it now and talking with Elliot, he's got his views, but he's right. Like, I'd nurture a skill set rather than going to kind of learn for further education. The only thing further education does is it does open doors with employment, but you'll find what I found is they want experience. So you graduate and all of a sudden you graduate, great, we need the degree, we also need 5 years experience minimum. I'm like,
how do I get the 5 years?
Well, hold the fuck on. Like, I've just done the degree, and all of a sudden, where do I get this from? And there's like minimum. Every job I tried to apply for, minimum was 3 years experience. I had internships like throughout, but nothing like concrete. So it was hard. Graduating was hard, and entering it. That's when I had to work. So I kind of did retail. I did bar jobs. I think I was working at the time like 80-hour weeks because I was trying to run away. I was like a little bit like scared of like, I don't know what the immediate next step is. So I could keep myself busy as fuck. I was applying to jobs, and that was a massive lesson, to be fair, mate. I was like, it was so much rejection. It was my first introduction to proper rejection. and
Yeah.
it was like getting palmed off left, right, and center. And I had one job where I went to it, and it was like 30 minutes from me in a place called Corsham, near Bath, and it was like a medical. They made medical swabs. They made like little disposable kits and all this sort of stuff. And fucking, I should have kept with them because of fucking COVID, shouldn't I? But no, but I went there, and then I applied. I was like, I got this, and then I was like, went in my suit, dressed up, and then week went by, nothing. 2 weeks went by, nothing. 3 weeks, nothing. And I've messaged, and then, oh yeah, you weren't successful. And I was like, what? It's like the 58th job. I was like, what have I got to do? And like, yeah, you just overqualified.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it gave me a bit of confidence realizing that I had potential, but it was still like, it's a lot of rejection. So I just kept going, and then I ended up getting an internship. I was thinking, right, if I need experience, let's go do it. And again, raised a bit of money. And again, not everyone's lucky that I am. My parents helped me out a little bit. So I part funded it, they part funded it, but I lived in America for a while. I had a marine lab in Sarasota, and I was learning basically you get like algal blooms in the ocean, and every now and then due to seasonal events, and it can be quite toxic. So I don't sometimes you have shellfish and you can get like toxic toxic shock syndrome and paralytic shellfish poisoning, PSP.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know too much about that. If it.
Okay. Basically, you get every now and then you get seasonal blooms of algae, and then they can produce this toxins like a brevetoxin, which affects the liver. Right. And the problem with shellfish is they super concentrate it. They're filter feeders. So things like mussels and clams, they just like suck in water continually, and this algae, and then their flesh becomes like insanely high potent forms of this toxin and kill you. It can kill you. But I was monitoring that. I was doing like ecotoxicology and looking at pesticide levels, and that's where I got a good experience. I got a job off the back of it. Yeah. So it was the right decision. But I look back at it now as the best lesson in terms of just rejection and no immediate gratification and no feedback. I always used to, with school and education systems, you get feedback.
Yeah.
The world, you don't.
Yeah.
And that was like that built my confidence structure, feedback. And I was looking at it going like, I've got nothing. And it was demoralizing, but it taught me that that's default now. That's how life is.
It's so important. I was going to kind of pull things back to that. I mean, you applied for 58 jobs and got rejected, but you got the 59th.
Yeah.
It's the vast majority of people, they get a few jobs in and then just stop trying. So the key thing to kind of take away from that is you just got to keep going, and like having that experience that you kind of went through, like similar to what I went through when I used to work for David Lloyd in the sales department. We used to have a target of 100 cold calls per day minimum. You had to call 100 people per day minimum, and it was just rejection, like over and over again daily, every single day, like clockwork. But it builds up this massive thick skin, and it builds up the skill set that, well, I mean, you've now been able to take that into like the rest of your life because you've gone through that rejection and that experience. But you've also proven to yourself that if you keep going, eventually you will be able to succeed and achieve exactly what you want. And it's a really, really important lesson for a lot of people, especially the people that we work with. I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we? Where people will, they might get on their content, they might post a few times, oh, I've not really got much back, and then stop doing it. You've got to keep showing up, you've got to keep moving forward, because you will be rewarded eventually for it, because the vast 99% of the population do quit. And that's what separates the successful people from the people who are like living a very comfortable, maybe not so happy life. So really, really important, really important.
I mean, fair play, mate. Like I've struggled on the phone, like, because again, if I don't see people, I don't see their, because 80 again, I don't know if this is actually introverts, but 88% of communication is non-verbal.
Yeah.
And for me, if I'm starved of that, I get my overthinking is like, so when I'm on the phone and I hear nothing back and I say stuff, I had to do that when I went to biotech. I had a role when I was moving into business development for that company.
Yeah.
I was on the phone, so I respect you for that, because it's just like, that is hard, and that's you are the god of closing, and it's it's obvious that when you look at your track, what you've gone through to kind of build that skill set. So
it's still a learning game. Still a learning. I wouldn't call myself the god.
Okay, the master. We'll go. We'll
Better
definitely.
salesmen than me. There's better salesmen than me.
You're very good at it, mate. But yeah, and yeah, it's just, it's definitely a skill set, mate, and it's perseverance. Okay, do go on about it.
Yeah.
And because there's no immediate gratification is false, and it just I kind of harp on about content. I talk about it with our calls and group calls. We had a huddle, didn't we? And I was just that was the point. It's just I kind of go on about it because through direct experience, it's disheartening when you put stuff out and you get nothing in back. But it's natural. That is the natural order of things, and you got to keep going. Do you quit, or do you do the bare minimum and get nothing, or do you keep going? And it's like that's it. And I've had times where I've quit and I've tried other stuff, and then I try all again, and then I've quit and I've tried other stuff, and I'm like,
yeah.
After the second or third time, you're like, there's a cycle here. Just get through. You got to get through the tough grit first, and then on the other side is like some nice grass. But
it's a really fucking poor mindset from a lot of people as well. It's like I watched another podcast where they were talking about like bonus structures within like employees, right? And there's employees that want a bonus for just doing what they're paid to do in the first place.
Yeah.
And it like when you actually like say it out loud, it makes no fucking sense. But there's a lot of employees out there that just do their job that they're paid to do. They do the minimum and then expect the world. You've got to go above and beyond. Like you've got to do that. If you want a bonus, if you want to progress, you've got to do more than the average Joe. You've got to do more than the minimum, because the minimum is just it's called the minimum for a fucking reason. It's the minimum entry. It's like you've just taken one step past the starting line. Like if you want to really achieve what you want to achieve in life, you've got to fucking sprint for the finish. You've got to go for it. So it's a really, really powerful mindset that I think you only really develop from either mentors who have experienced it or your own experience yourself. And you've got to kind of go through it or have that environment around you to really kind of get through that, I think.
I was very, it's so true, mate. And I was very, again, I think that was programmed into me from my parents.
Yeah.
That I knew I had to pay a price. And I think self-consciously, I was seeking this price I had to pay. And I just know you have to graft. And the whole ethos was you can set yourself up for life in 5 hard years. That was what they used to teach. Like you could literally set your life up. And he's testaments that I think he retired like 40 something. And he say he retired. He still loves to do stuff, but he didn't. He retired at like 40. Doesn't have to work because you for 5 solid consecutive, consistent, damn hard working years, and pushing ahead and being unbalanced, being unrealistic, you can really set yourself apart. And deep down, I was like the anxiety and guilt of me not finding that. And I had in these other jobs, I like pushed hard and worked hard, but the system was like it wasn't built for it. And I knew I had to scratch this itch. I knew I had to work hard. So I've always been open to that. And I think I've had on the other side, like, you talk about bonus structures. Like I've known it was like it was working for like this woman who used to work for Lloyd's banking group. And my partner at the time, she'd come back and she would just like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm taking my daughter for a haircut. So I'm off for her for a couple of hours. Can you take the slack? And her daughter's like 22. She's like, and she would do nothing. She'd do the square root of fuck all, and then she would get paid. And then every year they got a bonus because it's the bank. And then they used to get like a $6,000 bonus. And this woman did nothing. And it was like a team environment. And it angered me so much. And that kind of fueled me. I'm like, you got people out there who just do fuck all. And I know that, my mum's used to live it used to be like sort of friends of the village who'd come down. And they were working in the NHS in mid-management. And then one guy would just used to brag about how he, on Wednesday he did nothing, he left early, and then he gets so many holidays a year. Yeah. And he like goes on yachts and stuff. And parasites, man. I look at him and I'm thinking, you're ripe for a cull. Like just like the completely opposite attitude of how I was. They're just like gaming it, they're just relaxing, they're putting their feet up, thinking they're clever. And then I remember, like, I think my mum saying to me, my dad's like, yeah, well, they're going to stay here, though. They can game it all they want, but they're going to stay here in order to kind of get to where you want to be. If you do want to get somewhere in life, there's always a price to pay. And yeah, like now at Limitless, I've always wanted to pay a price. I feel guilty not paying a price, but I'm paying a price now in a structure and in a team where the returns can be it's like there's so much leverage here because the returns are so much there, and in what we're building and what we're doing, we're helping people.
Yeah.
It's I willingly pay the price.
Yeah, 100%. And people like that guy that you just mentioned who kind of sits around bragging about his holidays, etc. Now, the way that I kind of look at life is a little bit different to probably my parents and their sort of generation, maybe before them as well, like that old school way of thinking, where they kind of look at their kids as if I'm right. Like I've had more experience, I know more. But I look at our generation and generations kind of past us. I mean, look, human beings naturally, every single generation gets smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter, right? So I look at my duty, and that's why I'm so fulfilled with Limitless as well. It's my fucking duty to all of the experience that I've gone and learnt myself. It's my duty to pass that down, and it's my duty to listen to the generation after me because they're smarter than me, because they've been absorbed by things that my generation didn't have, the generation before me didn't have. I mean, fucking hell, we're like our lifetime, we're probably going to be on Mars. I mean, AI is kicking in now with everything that Elon Musk is doing. Like every single generation past us is getting smarter and smarter. So if you're kind of sat back bragging about doing fuck all, like, I don't look at that as a good thing. Like, because it's your responsibility to pass that down, and it's your responsibility to be open minded and listen to the generation after you.
Yeah, man. I think that I agree. The only caveat I would add to that is wisdom. Like the younger generations, they can accumulate knowledge so much quicker through technology and through the rate of growth is like ridiculously, it's scary, the rate of growth that can happen. So naturally the knowledge and what's at their fingertips, they can learn so much more quickly. However, you do look back at some of the old poets and some of the old recorded historians and people who've lived before us, there's such wisdom for what they had. And I think something to be said where experience of applying knowledge and getting feedback, and that's something you could offer when you're later in life. I think, yes, you're right. There will be people who are like, can learn so much more and so much more in the loop, and they gain so much more knowledge and they're more up to speed. But that level of like wisdom is something we should respect and look up
100%.
to.
100%. And that's exactly how I look at things. So you take what you've learned from your experience and your environment. So for example, like you with your dad, you'll take all of that knowledge and environment to yourself. You go through your own experiences and then you'll pass all of that down to the next person.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of look at things. It's like a trajectory for like each and every sort of generation that comes sort of past you.
It's evolution, mate, to be honest, isn't it? Like, you know, you're storing it like obviously verbally, but that's what genetics is, you know.
Yeah, but it's the people that like frustrate me where they build up, they get that wisdom, like you said, they build up that experience, and then they just do nothing. That really frustrates me because it's like that example, like that guy, oh, I'm on a yacht, I'm doing nothing, I'm barely working. But you've just accumulated all of this information, and you're being really selfish in the fact that you're not willing to pass that down. Like to me, I look at that as it's really frustrating because you could literally be changing someone's life by what you actually know and the information that you've actually accumulated. That's how I look at things, and that's why with Limitless, I'm so fulfilled. Like every single day, mate, what we do, like we're hopping on calls and we're just literally passing that information over.
Yeah.
So it's speeding up all of that time so that person doesn't have to go through the same experiences as we kind of did and what we kind of know. That then they can take that, learn their own experience, and then they can pass it down one day. So it's such a fulfilling role, isn't it?
It's so gratifying, mate, because like I was working throughout that biotech role, I had some changed role. I was working in R&D, then I had to go into leading like operations manager and business development to run the actual company at one of the branches there. And again, that's me just wanting more and like wanting to, quite hungry, like scratching the itch of I was seeking this price out to pay. I've know how to do it, so like that's ingrained. But working, one of the first things with Elliot was I remember doing like an ad, and it's like one of the first ones I did, and I got like a conversion off it, and it was 12 grand, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, but it's like I got a sale, like, you know, just seeing it come back to me. I was like, did the company say anything? No. I was like, oh, well, they not acknowledged it. They're not happy. Yeah, whatever, keep going. They want more. And I was like, oh, but like all this knowledge, wisdom, and everything we've learned now, applying it, it's when we're applying it, it's going so much further to each person. And I know some of your results, like through absolutely astounding, like literally life-changing. And it's just like working with people is awesome, because when you work direct and you're gonna get and you see the lives they've changed, and like, you know, it's ridiculous of like how that wisdom and knowledge, when you apply it to a person at that stage of their life, it can change a whole family's trajectory into riches.
Yeah.
And you know, I've got right now, like Sam comes to mind, where he's plumbing, and you know, he was working ridiculous hours, and he was working on, they had a contract with new builds, they would his company was taking the piss, he was working stupid hours. And I think up to, you know, him and his partner were like team, she was helping on outreach, he was doing the content, they were, and it's having a supportive partner is just so important. That's just a side note, but they really were a team.
Yeah.
And everything I kind of did, and they've said, like, look, at the end of the day, you're passing on knowledge where instead of them doing it in 5 years, they can do it in 3 months. And he like, you know, in December he quit. He's just like, well, he's basically just got all his time back. He's got a bit of money, doesn't have to work until February, and that's our marker. And it's like, we're building up the income. We're close now to surpassing what he had with the with plumbing. And it's just like him knowing he's not going to go back to that. They've got a little kid. It was I think it was the first Christmas with the daughter, and it's just like,
yeah,
you just unlock so much for them. Yeah. And there's the gratitude's there, and like, okay, like at the end of the day, 12K on one order for companies is not going to dent, but 5 to 10K a month on a family, that's a big change.
Yeah, massive.
That's a big change.
It's got time with the little one. It's the most important. I had the same thing with Andy. Like he was working nights, his partner was working in the day, like, and then obviously his partner got pregnant, like they were having a baby, and then he literally went through the same process, just said, fuck this, I'm going for it. Like all that time back. Now his partner has now left his partner has now left her job. Now they're both working for the company, they've both got all this time with the little one, and they're like same thing, they just had the first Christmas this year. And like these are it just makes me smile, mate, that we're having that impact on people's lives just by passing down what we know, essentially.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice. Very, very rewarding. It's very gratifying, because like my dad's always said, like, you know, he was lucky, he enjoyed working with people. And when I was like at university, I remember at the time thinking, like, how can he do that? I'm like, and my confidence is low. I'm introverted. I just think, why would people want to? But now working in a good team where the energy is on point, the environment, the positive, you're conditioned to expect positive outcomes.
Yeah.
And then working closely with people and helping people, I could do this for the rest of my life. The money's a bonus.
Yeah, same.
When you're in that, you won. You've already won when you're in that environment. And it's just like, I can do this forever. And money coming through is a byproduct of the success. You know, money isn't success. It's the result of success. And it's just like, I can keep pushing on this. And then because of that, I think when you always got that better intention in mind, you get so much further.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we kind of skipped past your career a little bit. We always go on a little bit of a tangent, but kind of take me back and fill me in. Obviously, we don't have to go into crazy details. We went into like a good tangent there, to be fair. But from the moment, obviously, you spent like a year in America to the position that you're at now. Obviously, that whole employed experience. How did you find that? And were there any lessons that you kind of learned along the way with that as well?
Yeah, there's quite a few. It was good. I was working in science at the time. I loved it. I worked in R&D. So we did bioreactors. We create these sort of photo bioreactors, basically microalgae, very small, you can't see them. You take them from like a petri dish all the way to like a 6,000 litre giant vat where you're growing nutraceuticals, fluorescent proteins, pigments for the bioscience market. And I enjoyed that. But the company wasn't run well, and basically it was basically some aristocracy, some guy. He's he's got descendants from this Royal Catholic family that Henry VIII set up like
Right.
8 years ago. So that's like old upper class English sort of thing. This was his passion project, and I kind of got on it, and then the kind of like direction wasn't there. I got into it because of the interest, but there's no direction. And then one night we set up the bioreactor, and then the next day we had a woman from TSB. He was one of the funding managers for the stipend. She was coming next day, and we left it running. We shouldn't have done it, but we left it running overnight. Come back, and it was just destroyed. It was like water everywhere. There's like sparks and stuff, and I had to like climb up this like structure to disconnect the electrics, and the project had to like close. And then we got forced down an avenue where we had to get into revenue very quickly. And from that moment onwards, that was like good 2 years of work, and then gone overnight. And then I had a good 6 years then from that point on. It was always about getting money, getting revenue in. And that was that. I don't know if it's anxiety is the right word. Pressure was definitely a word. And then it was all of a sudden I had to kind of go. And I basically stood up because it was basically there's 3 people in the company. It's a very close team. Yeah. And the guy running it didn't have a Scooby, didn't have a clue. And it was just like, right, okay. And I remember talking to my dad at the time, I was like, look, go for it. You've got nothing to lose. This is going to be a great experience. Just go for it. If it does go well, you're in with the top brass. If it doesn't go well, you've learned a lot. So just go. You can't lose. So we ended up turning those products into turning the nutraceuticals, the fluorescent proteins into drinks because of like nightclubs. Tried to market that. It got off the ground a little bit, but stability of the proteins was hard. We used a kind of flavor which we didn't realize, but that kind of reacted with water in a drink. Not a great thing to do. There's a lot of water in drinks, surprisingly. So we tried to stabilize that. Had this really weird tingling like on your tongue. It would basically make your mouth vibrate at a certain frequency, and it would give you a high. And it's a citrus extract. I don't know why I'm protecting it. It's Sichuan pepper. For anyone out there, or the IP, my boss used to go crazy. But it was basically, if you've ever had Sichuan pepper, you get this like sensation. And there's definitely hydroxy alpha sanchyl is the compound that does it, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier very easily. It's a natural extract, but it definitely gives you a high, mate. And we at the time we were trying to like, right, okay, this is interesting. So we put it in sweets, we put it in like vape products. We tried different areas to get to market. One of them was the vape product and the sweet, which it basically cleansed your palate. So all of a sudden, that was when I kind of, throughout this process, I was like talking with Elliot about marketing. And that's when I first got involved with marketing, was just like, right, okay, I've got weird products. What do I do? And then I think, to be fair, one of the successes I did is I did like a good Facebook campaign where I was doing Facebook ads myself, and our exposure it was organic outreach. I built a click funnel off the back of it, to get like a 2-step funnel where you get like an upfront sample off a sale off the back end. Actually, what we had to offer was bugger all. We didn't. Our product line wasn't huge, and we didn't have a service, but it taught me a lot about marketing and like what to do and how to get exposure. And we turned up these conferences, and everyone knew who we were through the work we were doing on socials. And that's when I had like a light bulb moment of like, you can command a lot of attention and exposure, but even if you got a relatively shit product, you can go somewhere. So I learned a big lesson there, and that was part of it. And then another lesson was just persevere. Like, again, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And it was just like, that didn't work. Let's try again. I look at the time, it was stressful, but I look back, it was slightly fond memories because, I had to learn how you make gummy bears from scratch. I had to learn how you make hard sweets. I had to learn how you do drinks. We set up a bottling plant from the thing. We set up a sweet manufacturing line. We set up a chewing gum. I know how to make chewing gum. And now to make
just absorbing everything.
Product development from the ground up. So I know how to make products, and like I know how to do pilot studies. And so I knew a lot about that. And then the marketing off the back end, I was starting to learn. But at the time, I was working with a guy who he just didn't have a clue. And he, it's just like when we got to COVID and things locked down, he was just like, yeah. And now I look back at it with 2 ways, because I can, as a business owner, I can see his point. But he basically said, I can't pay you. So you can either get, £100 a month or £500 a month, and like work hard, or that's it. And I found out he was claiming furlough on full price of our wage, and then he kept some of it to keep the business going, and then he offered less. And I was just like, oh, fuck this. And I didn't have an alternative at the time. So I was working, I had 2 other businesses. I was doing Amazon FBA as well to kind of help push that. So that was just getting off the ground. So I had other things, plates semi-spinning, but I didn't have like a solid thing. So I was just like, right, okay, I'll keep going. And then luckily for me, well, not luckily, I did all the work. This other guy was like not too involved, but I did all the setup. So I had all the connections with the sales with the e-liquid. So when it came to a point where I was like, do I want to keep working in this environment, which is very negative? And I'm used to going out and getting no returns. But there was a point where I remember Elliot just throughout the time, he was like, I was helping out with marketing. He was asking me to come on board. And at the time I was quite eager. I was like, right, I want to get my own stuff sorted. So I was working for a fair bit at this time, but he was just like, you need to get out of that environment. You take responsibility. Look, shit's happening, but you should have left this earlier. And he was quite hard on me. He's like, it's quite to the point, not honest. Like you fucked. You should have left this. You why are you doing this still? And then I was like, right, okay. And that's when I kind of left. I went full time with my liquids. Had another Amazon was doing okay at the time with a bit of cash flow, and then I had set up this paint company because at the time I wanted to go full throttle. I had another contact doing that. Turns out he was stealing from the account, which I found out about. So yeah, it's just people, mate. Trust. Trust is another thing. Like I learned to be shrewd. I was quite naive. I was quite trusting. I was always like, yeah, I believe you for your word. And then working with those sorts of characters, I kind of keep my cards a little bit closer to my chest. Don't trust people as much as I would normally. Be a bit shrewder. I still believe in people, but just like be shrewder. I guess for me, that's a big thing I learned. And then now applying all that hard effort and what I've learned in an environment where I've got people I can trust, like yourself, and people I get on with, and a team. Like the fact when it was all on me, and not to like get out my violin and have a little pity party, but like I like that because I could control it, a bit of control freak. But I found it like there was stuff that he's doing, I was exhausted, and then all of a sudden here I'm like, okay, well, come up and film with you, and then we're filming together, and then like all of a sudden it's like you've uploaded everything on a Google folder. And then you show me how to I suck at Canva. And I was like, right, what do I do? And you're like, mate, do this. And you just show me, you share your knowledge. And I'm like, fuck, I'm doing this wrong. And I can save myself so much time doing that. And it's just like, it's a different level. Since going like helping people and like working directly involved with the team in the last year, I've grown like in myself as a person, I've grown like 5 years in one.
Oh, I've seen that in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Like when we first met, we first met at I flew back from, I was living in Spain at the time. I flew back from Spain for the first Limitless event.
You were in Marbella, weren't you?
Yeah, first time I met you, and you was this very, very shy character. Nice guy, but very, very shy. Wasn't really opening up. And then like I've seen that transition like across 2022. It's literally night and day, John. It's almost like you unleashed yourself, if that makes sense. It's like all of those things that you were kind of like holding back maybe a little bit. It's like they're all out in the open like now. That's what I've kind of seen. It's been great to see. It just shows how important like your environment is. And we've spoken about this so many times, but your circle is so important. And the circle that we've kind of built within Limitless now is insane. Like I didn't think I'd ever be in a circle with people like yourself, obviously Elliot, James, Shan, Marcus. Like the team that we've got now is, I'm the same as you. I could do this for the rest of my life. Like it's not about the money, is it?
No, exactly, mate. And like what you just said, there's I think I was like a little bit stubborn, like back like doing it on my own and like trying to. I had because I had invested. I like the mindset of like I've done this, I've had traction in this, I've got to see it through, and that was just like I shouldn't. That was like a big error. So that was part of it, but another part was stubbornness and wanting to do it myself. And then Like you can either you talk about this very well. You can either learn from your own experience, trial and error, or you can leverage other people's knowledge and get there quicker. And I always thought like, yeah, but experience is the best teacher. But like it's just being in that environment, being in a team and being surrounded by other people, like you said it, and I appreciate that, for better or for worse, hopefully better, it unlocks you. And it's just like, if I could pass anything on anyone out there, if you're struggling, that there's a necessity to that. But that if you feel like a year's gone by and you haven't made progress, because months can go by, you don't make progress. That can be normal. But if it's like a year or 6 months and you look back and you haven't made traction, just change your environment for your own self. Like, because you're probably not living up to your own expectations of what's possible. So, and that's hard to see when we're relative. You don't theorize that. You don't even appreciate it. But going through it, it's just like, and I wasn't even aware of it, but you mentioning it right now, like I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I wouldn't be able to offer the value and the capacity of work I can do now and the skills I've got now if I wasn't in an environment where I saw what I was comparing myself to. And I've had to learn quickly, because all of a sudden I'm working with winners who are just like hungry and on it, and the bar is here, and I'm just gunning for this bar, and in pursuit of that, I'm so much further ahead. And it's just like, if you're spending 6 months to a year struggling and fighting, and if you look at your surrounding environment and it's not serving you, it's not so much like financially, yeah, you'll be ahead, but you as a person it's gonna change. And in terms of like the enjoyment of the process, and again, you could find yourself in a position where you can do this for the rest of your life just by changing your environment and enjoying it. And then anything else tangential to that is a bonus. The money, everything, but the freedom. And that's another thing. It's just like, all of a sudden, parents spending time with their kids, doing the school runs, listening to the day, getting work done, taking them on holidays, and not having to kind of answer to a dickhead boss who is putting outrageous demands, not increasing their salary whilst everything's going up. It's just, yeah, it's so important, that environment and the energy you get from people. You just got to really, that's the biggest lesson I think from 2022.
So important, and also you choose your environment.
You have power over that.
You choose it, and a lot of people feel like they don't. A lot of people feel like, oh yeah, but they're my friends, that's my family, these are my colleagues. That you can literally take a step out of that and go into a different environment if you want to, if you choose to do so. And I've been guilty of that in the past, because obviously Elliot was. We'll touch on Elliot as well, because obviously you mentioned him a few times. I actually explain who he is for anyone that doesn't know who he is. But Elliot was my mentor before I actually came on to Limitless as well. And when he invited me on, I was so thankful, because it was almost like the step up that I needed. So I've done every single role within the fitness industry in the last decade. I've been the class instructor, I've been the apprentice, I've been the PT, I've been the sales consultant, I've been the manager, I've been absolutely everything within the fitness industry. And I kind of hit a point where, and then I'd obviously blown my own business up as well. And I was kind of at a point where I ticked off everything, and mentorship was like next step up for me naturally. And when Elliot gave me the opportunity to obviously be part of Limitless, I was so thankful. And the thing that he always said to me was, you kicked the door down, like you chose this environment. And at the time I was like, yeah, but I haven't. You've given me the opportunity. And he was like, no, you've chose to be here. And it was only in hindsight, actually looking back, it was like, well, yeah, it was me, because I'm the one that hired him in the first place. I'm the one that built the relationships around everything that's part of it now, and I'm the one that kind of made it happen. But you have that choice. It's like when Elliot obviously approached you and said, no, you need to leave, you need to come with me. It was still your choice to say yes.
Yeah, and it's painful, mate. Yeah. It's painful. Like, it's not easy, that decision.
Yeah,
because we're so relative. We get stuck. I get stuck in this comfort, but it's like, what you're familiar with. Yeah. Mate, I've sacrificed, I've moved, I've sacrificed relationships for this. I've sacrificed past work for it. I feel like I cut a big section of, yeah, that was tough. Like with relationships, that was like, it was really hard. I felt like I cut a large part of me away,
Yeah.
and I literally had to, because I wasn't happy, and I just didn't feel fulfilled, and I didn't see myself getting there, and to some degree, and it's just like, it's not easy making that decision sometimes to separate yourself from your current environment to a new one, but it's for the better. But you know, you know it's for the better, but it's just it's hard to do, and a lot of people don't, because it's just that pain. There'll be a lot of initial pain, but oh fucking god, it's worth it once you get through it.
It's a hard choice, but the choice is there. And a lot of people act like there's no choice, like whatsoever, because there's
Because it's comforting, you know. If there's no choice, there's no pressure. It's not my fault, you know. And that's probably what I lied to myself, you know, when I was going through the business development role, looking at the different product lines. I was just lying to myself a little bit, going like, oh well, you know, there's no alternative. We've got to go down this way, and there was always an alternative.
Yeah.
Quit, go on your own, do this, do that. And, you know, I empathize people leaving employment because it's guaranteed. I don't actually, because employment for 6 years, it was never guaranteed. Every single month, I didn't know if my paycheck was coming in.
Yeah.
And that was relatively in my control, because I could have left, and I also had direct control over the outcome, because I was growing the business.
Yeah.
But it wasn't mine. So it was like, I kind of used to that self-employed mentality. It was like in a quasi semi state, really, where I was doing that for like the best part of 6 years, but without the benefit of when the turns came in, it would be someone else. And the insult was that they made me leave, or that really helped me leave, which I'm thankful now.
Yeah.
When he offered me £500 a month for full-time employment, which is against the law, but he said, like, I'll give you 2.5% of the company. And it's just like, fuck me, can you not give me 10? Can you not give me something like?
Yeah.
And then at the day after that, he asked me for a favor, and I was doing Photoshop at the time, which I again had to learn for like some of the label design stuff. And he had a private horse race, and the first place cash prize was £3,000, and he couldn't afford to pay me and my colleague, but he had £3,000 to spare for his hobby project. And then yeah, I flipped.
But it's those experiences, and like and like you've kind of said there, like the sales aspect for me was very similar to that. Like it was always the self-employed aspect, because it was, well, the time was on 16 grand a year, like fuck it all. And then it was like, whatever you kind of earn, obviously not as low as £500 a month, but whatever you kind of earn is down to you. So like the power is kind of in your hands, so to speak, and it's a really important lesson that you can learn. So like if you are employed, I think one of the most important and most beneficial employed roles are positions that are like that, where you do have some form of commission structure or some form of incentive to actually work hard and actually improve like the outcome of what you actually get. The job roles where you just work a 9 to 5 salary with zero incentive, you're just going to slip into that comfort zone very, very quickly, because you've hit the ceiling and what you can kind of hit. Yeah, you might be able to have opportunities to maybe get promoted, but it's all a maybe. And this is my argument with even some of my friends and family, where they say, oh, employed is secure. And I'm like, it's not, because your boss can sack you tomorrow. And I'd rather put that power in my hands. Like I'd rather put that power in my hands, because I know that I can control the outcome of that. So it's just a completely different mind. Again, it all boils down to exactly what we've been talking about, sort of in general. It's the environment, it's who you're around, it's what you're absorbing, it's what your beliefs are and your mindset actually is after it's been adapted around those sort of things. But yeah, that's a massive like lesson to actually learn for anyone actually listens to this as well. It's really, really important.
It's sorry, mate. We've got to press on, but you make a good point there. It's like when you're in that environment, it's harder to back out. And like looking back, I'm critical. I was a bit of a pussy. I was a coward. Like sometimes, like because I knew I had to do the work, but it's hard.
Yeah.
And then there's times I back out, you know, I'd be like, I got to make calls and I wouldn't do them. And I found it a lot more comfortable to cold just turn up and like turn up to appointments and like go, and I was going door to door. I find it easy, but it wasn't as effective. And I backed out because I was on my own and I had no one to answer for. And I slipped into the like, well, because it's not my company, I don't get direct returns, and then I will get some base rate. It's not ideal, but I'll rely on something else. And that little thought took over, and I played subject to that. And you know, I'll hold my hands up because I was a coward for a while, just like going along with some stuff. And now it's like hard to do. There doesn't even, you know, when you're in a good environment, you can't let people down, and that's it. You know, I can't let you down. I can't let the team down. And when you're on it, there's no alternative. And you know that's big as well, because I could have. There's so much more you could have done when you're earlier in the career, but you know, sometimes when you're on your own, you let that little voice win. It's easier to let it win, mate, isn't it? Really, I guess.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. No, thank you, John. Thank you for sharing that as well. See, I knew quite a lot of that story, but it's just sharing it for other people as well. Again, this is the whole point of this. I want to show the step-by-step journey and really paint the picture, because obviously we do share just result after result, which is fantastic. But it's really important to share that journey as well sometimes, to show that it is achievable, and whatever you're kind of going through, you've got, like we kind of discussed, you've got that choice. You can choose your environment, you can choose your own path. And that's the most, like, you're not stuck. Even if you might feel stuck, you might feel comfortable, you're not. Like, you're really not. It's just changing your environment sometimes. So where can people find you if they wanted to reach out to you and have a good chin wag with you one-to-one? Where can they find you?
So mainly on Instagram, to be fair, mate, at the moment. John_Scriven_limitless, naturally. Yeah, that's my handle. But yeah, if you want to send me a message, probably the best place. Yeah.
Perfect. And what was the number that you said at the start? So the amount of views this video will get by the end of January. What were the amount of views?
I went end of Jan. Okay, I put 578.
578. Okay, I'll write that down. So yeah, just remember to pop a comment below with John's last name, so Scriven below, and then you'll be part of that prize draw. So at the end of the month, we'll be giving away to help you guys start your business from the ground up. This is the whole point of this. So just a little bit of fun, just a little bit of something to kind of help you out. And the bigger this gets, the more we'll be able to help as well. But yeah, thank you, John. Thank you.
Legend. Cheers, mate.